We're just going to wait a couple more minutes and give everybody time to get in. My head is so much smaller than everybody else's. These things don't like to stay on me this way. What time is it? I'm just checking. Yeah, there's still some more people coming in. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Good evening, everybody. How you doing? Third night. Is there anybody here that is here for the very first time? Oh, really? Guess what? Me too. I'm subbing tonight. So everybody who's here for the first time, raise your hand again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, you're good. You're totally good. Come on in. Sit wherever you would like. Okay, so I'm going to back up and kind of rephrase some things. Those of you that have been here, this is the third night of Buddhism in a Nutshell. Elise Strevel, who's been leading this class, is traveling right now, so I'm your substitute teacher. And it has been a while since I've led this class, so bear with me. What's kind of nice about the fact that we've got some new people is it kind of gives me a chance to back up and regroup a little bit and go over a few things just to make sure that we all are on the same page. For those of you that are here for the first time, you're fine, okay? The things that you missed would have been the first night we go over kind of what Kadampa Center is all about and a little bit the history of Buddhism. And there's a lot of great books where you can kind of catch up and read that. That was a very factual night. And the last class, I think that Elise probably touched on a few things that we'll kind of go over. So we'll do a little bit of a review, but I'm going to back up and say, my name is Sandy Carlson. I have been coming here to Kadampa Center for about 7 or 8 years now. I'm very involved here at the center. I used to lead this class quite regularly, but we have a lot of people because this is a very fun class to lead, okay? So there are many of us that enjoy doing this. But it's been a while for me, so bear with me. I have been interested in Buddhism since I was a child. I'm one of those lucky people that my mother and father, back in the day, my father was in the military, and so my father was Lutheran, my mother was Catholic, and even back in the day, they weren't allowed to get married, so they eloped, right? I mean, this is all in our lifetime. And my dad went into the military, and so we traveled the world, and they opened up the whole world to us. My brother is Catholic, my sister is Lutheran, and I'm Buddhist. And it works. We make it work, all right? But I'm one of those fortunate ones that I did have a lot of the openings, and I did have the opportunity to do a lot of learning, but it was a lot of self-learning because we lived in a lot of places that there wasn't a center to go to. So I was quite self-taught and self-learned for many, many years. And then so you kind of develop those black holes. And when I came to Kadampa Center and discovered Geshe Gelik Choda, our resident teacher, and the center here, it was like all of a sudden I had that chance to work with the real teachers, kind of what I call the real deal. And a lot of the holes started falling into place. So that's what that means. So that's what that means. It's kind of the difference. I always talk about the difference between experiential knowledge and theoretical knowledge. I had a lot of theoretical knowledge, but I hadn't really experienced it. So it just helped me fill in a lot of the black holes, which I think is what a lot of people tend to do, especially here in the West, okay? We have some knowledge of these things, but not really understanding or a deeper understanding. So it's really made a difference to me to be able to work with again, the real deal from a Tibetan Buddhist perspective. So the lineage is very important here. And that's why I come here, because I know exactly what I'm going to get, okay, working with these Tibetan geshes. So, and again, I may be review or I may be overstating some things that you've already learned, and I'm going to open it up for some questions because I'm going to kind of try to gauge where everybody is at here. I'm going to try to follow Elise's kind of flow because that's where you've been coming from. And while we lead this class and it's all the basics and the same, we kind of have different flows, and I want to kind of stay where she is at so that she can just pop right back in. She's phenomenal. She's one of my favorite people here at the center, although we're not supposed to be attached to anybody. She's phenomenal, and you're very lucky to have her to lead the class, okay? So I'm going to really try to stay right in her little pocket here because I can get very excited about this class. And as you see, I am a believer in visual arts, okay? This is old school. I never know where, if my computer's going to work or if the internet's going to work or what I need. So this is my original from back years ago when I used to lead this class. That's what we had. We didn't have these fancy screens that Chris now takes care of. So, I mean, we've had an evolution, but I always come loaded for bear because I'm never sure what I'm going to need or what's going to actually work, okay? For those of you that are brand new, the restroom is right outside that door. Take a left, and if you need to get a drink, use the restroom, whatever during class, go. This is a very informal class. This is more about being comfortable. I'll open this up for questions because you're all here for curiosity, to learn. This is not about converting anybody to Buddhism. It's about answering some basic questions. We're just going to get into some very basic concepts. I'm going to struggle with this mic all night because I have a pinhead compared to what this does. So it's really more about what is it that I can share that's going to help you for whatever reason that you're here, okay? And whatever reason that you're here, it's all good. I don't care if you're just curious. I don't care if you are doing this for a class, one of your college courses, whether you're going to check it out and you're very interested about coming here, whether you've been practicing Buddhism for years. It's all good, okay? So let's just go there right off the bat. Okay, the plan for tonight. Have you guys been doing meditation during the beginning classes? So you did the posture, the learning the posture, and then I love Facebook. I'm so happy to see you back. Wonderful travels. He just got back from a trip that I got to go on with him because of all the pictures he was posting, and I enjoyed it. So, scanning the body, and what other meditation in the moment here, and start with the meditation. And I'm actually going to walk you through, even though so many of you probably have been doing this. The whole reason for kind of touching on these meditations is to give you a taste of it. We have a class, Meditation 101, with this class. For those of you, again, I'm going to be repeating some things because we have some new people. But we have these introductory classes, Buddhism in a Nutshell and Meditation 101. And these classes alternate. So we've got 5 weeks of Buddhism in a Nutshell, and then there'll be Meditation 101. So check the schedule. But meditation is kind of this deep-rooted tool that Buddhism uses to look at the mind. So these are just some of the basics. We'll do some basic meditation, and let's just do one right now, because when we come at the end of the day like this, I'm going to do, what did she say? When we come at the end of the day like this, I don't know about you, but I always like to just start this class with a little meditation, because it brings us here. We're always so scattered. I should say I'm always so scattered because of my busy day and trying to come here and all of a sudden pick everything up. It helps me to just focus in and become a little bit more present and a little bit more calmer and ready to do this. So I'm going to actually read this. For those of you that are newer, we have what we call a 7-point meditation posture. Some of you may have been working with this already. And there is a reason for all of this, okay? The Tibetan masters, who are the meditation masters, you know how the studies, you hear all these studies about meditation and how deep they go and how long they can do it and what the benefits are. I guarantee you that the majority of those studies are done on Tibetan masters, okay? Because they really have, after 25, 26, 2,700 years, they have got this down. And there's a common sense reason for the way they sit. There's nothing holy about sitting on a cushion, okay? There's the reason for sitting in these postures is to create a stable base so you can hold that position for a long period of time while you're looking at your mind. So there's a reason for this meditation's posture, and we're just going to do this in the scanning the body, just to kind of give you guys, again, a little bit of focus. Okay. Just settle your mind. If possible, let's start with point number 1, the legs. Sit with the legs crossed in the Vajra, full lotus position. In that position, you see it. It's very common with the feet up. You see this one. This is what you see in all the movies and everything. Each foot is placed with the sole upward. That can be very difficult to achieve. I can't do it. I have a bum knee, so I don't even try anymore. But this gives the support to the body. And again, it's a very stable base. If you're sitting in a chair, you want your feet flat on the floor. If you need to put a cushion under to bring your legs up a little bit, then that's just fine. The half lotus is fine sitting, or just the simple legs crossed. If you're sitting on the floor and on a cushion, come a little bit forward from the cushion, because that's going to, again, give you a little bit more support. If you're sitting in a chair, come forward just a little bit, because we're going to be sitting. We're not going to be slouching, okay, because that's nap position. So it's sit just a little bit forward, and it gives you a little bit more. So feet on the floor. Sometimes I can read it. Sometimes it's better if I just explain it. Okay, feet on the floor. Arms. For the Tibetan Buddhists, what we do is we take our right hand, place it on our left, touch your thumbs, and you're going to bring it right underneath. I got this mic here. You're going to bring it right underneath, kind of below your belly button. Okay, so you see that position, you see this in it. You'll see people doing the mudras with their hands on their legs and stuff. There's all kinds of different things you can do. In our tradition, this is the way that we do it. And then, so what happens when you do this? Your arms kind of go out, right? Kind of akimbo. They're kind of like that when you're placing it. Well, what does that mean? Airflow around your arms. Again, there's a reason for everything that we do. The back. Your back is very important. It should be straight, held relaxed, but very straight. Bring your shoulders a little bit back, kind of in this royal, position. And what this is doing is it's opening up your lungs for breathing. Okay, so if your back is straight but not stiff, it opens up your shoulders. And again, it's all common sense. This opens up your lungs for breathing. Your eyes. In the beginning, sometimes it's easier to keep your eyes closed. But in what we're working for is to have your eyes slightly open and maybe just gazing maybe 4 or 5 feet in front of you. And why is that? If you have your eyes closed, we have the tendency to become drowsy or fall asleep. If we're looking straight ahead, you can be distracted by everything. So the reason for having the eyes just slightly unfocused, slightly closed, looking just a little bit in front of you, but you're not focusing there. You just have your eyes open so that you're not getting tired. Your jaw and mouth. So your jaw and mouth should be relaxed with your teeth slightly apart. Don't clench your teeth, okay? And lips slightly touching. Your tongue should be on the roof of your mouth behind your teeth and your upper palate. That's just your tongue slightly touching right behind the teeth. Why is that? Controlling the saliva a little bit, okay? If you're swallowing and stuff, again, anything that can lessen some of the distractions, even our body distractions. Bless you. Okay? So we're trying to, again, control any of our body actions that we can. The head should be slightly tilted forward, just a little bit. Again, so it helps with our gaze, not straight up because distractions, not down because we're sleeping. The way that I try to think of it too is if I've got a string on the crown of my head that's pulling, it kind of helps me create that elongated, back. It just helps me to visualize and kind of work with my body that way. So that's the 7-point meditation posture. And again, there's a reason behind everything. Okay, we're going to do the scanning the body meditation. Focus your attention on your breathing and breathe naturally. Become present in the moment and place where you are. Just focus your mind on the rising and falling of your shoulders and chest as you inhale and exhale gently. Allow your mind to settle, become calm and present, ready to engage in meditation. Create an altruistic motivation for the meditation session and think that we're meditating not just for our own individual benefit, but we're taking the time now to meditate and develop our minds to become wiser and kinder people, able to be a benefit to all beings. Focus your attention on your physical body. Okay, we've found the most suitable sitting position for us for our meditation. Our spine is straight and erect. We're aware and awake, but we're not stiff or rigid. Focus your attention on the lowermost point of your body, where your body is in contact with the earth. Feel the substance and earthy character of your body. Concentrate for a moment on that contact, on the weight and substance of this physical form. Pay attention to the character of your mind, your consciousness, while focusing here. Now slowly and mindfully move your attention upward through your body. Pay close attention to every aspect of your body and every physical sensation. Note areas of tension and relax them. Note sensations of coolness or warmth. Note places where one part of your body is touching another. Move upward through your legs, your hips, your hands in your lap. Note the curves of your body's silhouette. Move upward, your belly, your waist, the curves of your arms. Continue to move upward, the rising and falling of your chest with your breathing, the curves of your shoulders. Keep moving upward, slowly, mindfully. Pay special attention to your shoulders, neck, and jaw. If there's any tension there, relax those areas. Move still upward, the tilt of your head, until you reach the crown of your head. Allow your attention to rest at your crown for a moment. Pay attention to the character of your mind, your consciousness, while focusing here. Is your mind's character different while concentrating here than it was when you were focusing on the lowermost point of your body? What differences can you note? Now slowly move your attention back downward through your body in the same way. Move slowly, mindfully, noting everything about your body as you move your attention back downward. Bring your attention all the way back down to the cushion of the floor, where your body is in contact with the earth. Again, focus your concentration at this point and note the character of your consciousness when focusing here. And again, note the nature of your mind state when concentrating here, and any differences from your mind state when concentrating at your crown. I'm going to have you just sit with this just for a couple of minutes. Okay, don't worry about time. We'll just sit for 3 minutes. So you can let go of time, do your breathing. If you want to scan, continue with that. But we're going to meditate for 3 minutes. Slowly bring your attention back to the room. And we're going to dedicate all the positive energy that we just created to the well-being and happiness of all living beings. Okay. How many in this room have meditated before? Okay. See, normally I already have a huge grip of where everybody is at in this room. So I'm going to take 5 minutes and just indulge myself. Chris, do you have the mic? Okay. I introduced myself. And I prefer to get to know you guys just a little.
So that's how I found out about it.
Well, welcome. Like I said, we're going to do this quick. I'm indulging, but it's always better for me if I know who I'm talking to.
Josh, Raleigh, Peace of Mind.
Okay.
I'm Becky. I'm also from Raleigh, and I learned about this through a friend.
Okay.
I'm Candace, Carrie, just to educate myself.
Checking it out. It's okay. Candace.
I'm Karen.
She's my neighbor.
I'm Sandy's neighbor, and she's. I should come check it out, so I'm coming to check it out.
I'm also Karen from Cary, and I found it through the internet, and I was purposely looking for it after I'd read a book or The Inner Fire and others.
Okay.
I'm Greg Gersweiser. I'm from Raleigh, and I'm interested in how Buddhism can help me in my life.
Okay.
And Gregory's mom. Just trying to learn the practices and the doctrine, etc.
Okay.
Rebecca, I'm from Raleigh. Just here to learn.
Just checking it out. It's okay. I had a couple of ringers one time, so I'm always making sure. It's like who's who.
I'm Fred from Raleigh also. My wife brought me here, but I'm also interested in learning about this and the meditative practices.
Okay. Thanks for the honesty.
Hi, I'm Paul. I live in Apex, new to Apex. Just been coming to the Canada Amp Center for about 3 months now.
Okay.
And this is my first time at the Buddhism In A Nutshell class.
Okay.
I'm Chloe. I'm from Raleigh, and we took the Meditation 101 class, so we
Okay.
wanted to come to this one.
Who was that with? Who was the instructor, just out of curiosity?
It was a few months ago.
A guy?
Yeah.
Probably David Mackless. Yeah? Sounds good. Okay.
My name is Dylan, also from Raleigh, and yeah, we found this place last fall, but wanted to take the Buddhism in a Nutshell class to get better understanding.
Did y'all do this already in the first class? Okay. Good. Then we're all learning.
Hey, I'm Jordan from Durham. I've been watching some documentaries on Buddhism, and just want to learn more about it and learn about the peace of mind that comes with it.
Okay.
I'm Bonnie from Pinehurst, and we've been trying to read some books and learn on our own, so we thought we'd learn from others.
Yeah.
Sarah, I'm from Lewisburg, and same thing, just here to learn.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Ryan from Apex, and just here to be introduced to Buddhism. Don't really know what to expect, but I am interested in learning about it. So.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Esther, also from Apex, and just here to learn more about Buddhism.
Just curious. Okay. Perfect.
Hi, I'm Lindsay from Raleigh. I'm looking to fill some of those black holes you mentioned and develop a personal practice.
Okay.
I'm Trish from Raleigh and been coming here a couple of years.
I was going to say ringer. Okay. There's a few in here. Just so you know, it's not just me. You have others to learn from.
That's right. I haven't taken any of the classes, so here I am.
I'm Fran from Raleigh, her husband, and years and years of reading Buddhism, and along with Trish, just wanted to be part of a sangha and put it into practice.
Okay.
Carlton from Wake Forest, my wife, and education.
I love those.
Tammy from Wake Forest. Just wanted to know more. Been interested in Buddhism for years, and been here for 20 years, and someone happened to mention that this was here.
I know.
So I know. Yeah.
I know.
Dee Dee from Sanford, just curious.
Okay.
Tatiana from Clayton, and I've been wanting to do this for years and just procrastinated, and I finally took the step to
Yeah.
So.
And that's awesome.
Elena from Cary. I was raised Unitarian Universalist, and I actually think.
Okay.
Do you guys go to Unity Church of Raleigh? You two? Right? No, maybe not. Never mind. They
Okay.
looked familiar. And
The one on Wade?
Well, it used to be in Moore Square in downtown Raleigh, but now they're off Glenwood.
I know. Okay.
Yeah. So was my church until I went to college, and then just in college, sort of just
Okay.
lost it. Stuff. So she's my friend from work, and she brought me.
She brought you or you brought her?
She brought me.
Okay.
I brought her.
Because you never want to go anyplace alone like this, right? Might be weird. Okay.
There's
Ooh.
Buddhists here.
Let's just know. Let's put it out there.
I'm Katie. I'm from Raleigh, and I've been interested in Buddhism for a while, and then I've been watching, I don't know if they're talks or sermons or what they're actually technically called.
Teachings, lessons, it's all good.
From Ajahn Brahm, from the Western Australia Buddhist Society.
Okay.
So, and I became more interested from that, and I just wanted to actually come in. There's actually a temple that's right around the corner from me on Forestville Road, and it's huge and it's beautiful, but all of the lessons were in Vietnamese, so that didn't work.
It makes it a little challenging, doesn't it?
Yeah. So
that's
it.
Hi, my name is Sharon, and I'm from Goldsboro, and I've been interested in Buddhism for a long time, but I found you on the internet. I know. It's like, yay.
Googled.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And I do want to learn to develop a practice, but my ultimate goal is to become a Buddhist. That is my desire.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Lynn from Goldsboro, and I'm very, very curious to see what my wife is. I'm fascinated that there's a movement that doesn't believe in war and killing, and
there's probably quite a few movements
it's one
that
of
don't.
the only ones I've ever come across, and that just fascinates me right there.
Okay. Well, perfect. Thank you guys for indulging me. But isn't it interesting? Okay, so the first thing I'm going to say is congratulations, and isn't it feel great that you actually took a step, because I know how hard that can be, especially for us Westerners, that you're stepping into a Buddhist temple. Might be weird, might be a cult, might be you don't know what you're going to find. So y'all bring a friend. Believe me, I've been there too. And I can kind of see it when you come in the doors. Okay, guess what? This is a very good, safe place. It is not a cult. I'm going to tell you to think for yourselves and don't take anything that I say for granted. Don't believe anything that I say just because I say it. Don't believe anything that Geshe-la says just because he says it. Don't believe anything that the Dalai Lama says just because he says it. We learn, and we need to that's how we take these teachings, okay? There's no blind faith in Buddhism. Okay, so we'll just say that one right there, because it's all this. So you're learning, you're curious, you're stepping in, you brought a friend. So, it's not an easy step to take, especially when you don't know what you're going to step into. Raleigh is actually one of the 10th, it's number 10 on the U.S. Census for 10 largest cities in the world with a Buddhist population. But the point is that there's Vietnamese Buddhism, there's Chinese Buddhism, there's Zen Buddhism, there's all these different styles. They all have the same base. They just focus on different things. So it's all the same. But it's challenging when they speak different languages, and then you can't. But you'll find a lot of Buddhist temples in the area. Okay? I would give this back here, because otherwise I'll put it down and I'll lose it. This is Steve Ringer from a class from a couple years ago. And when I say ringer, it's that thing about where we all have this self-knowledge. We've been reading books, so we know a little bit, but we're still trying to put these pieces and parts together. I'm going to do kind of a quick review just so we can kind of get going, and then I want to save some time at the end to do another meditation at the end. Are you guys doing homework? Does she give you homework and to meditate? Well, I do. So because it's part of the practice, okay? It's one thing to step into it, but you kind of put your foot in the water a little bit, okay? And then I'm gonna make you put both feet in by the end of the day, so that you go home and try to do some of these things. Try to practice this meditation, just so you can check it out. This is, it's just checking it out and trying to experience these things for yourself. So you have these handouts. I'm assuming you know about the handouts with the meditation. You can get them online, right? Go to the Kadampa Center website, kadampa-center.org, find the Buddhism in a Nutshell class, and you should be able to find the print-offs for each of these meditations that we're doing here. And these are some of the same meditation courses come on in. These are some of the same meditations that you will actually do in more depth in the Meditation 101 class. Okay, so go print them off. Go try it at home. We don't have to set up a whole spiritual practice, but just give them a shot, because several people were looking for peace of mind. And meditation, from a Buddhist perspective, has two types of meditation: analytical meditation and concentration meditation. The meditations that you're doing right now are concentration meditations, where we're learning to focus our mind on something, because we're going to be talking about the mind here in a second. So we have to learn how to focus our minds, just like going to the gym. You're getting ready, you're going to run a marathon. Well, you're not going to go out and run the Boston Marathon tomorrow. You're going to need to practice, right? You're going to need to build up your muscles, do that. So the concentration meditation is like the practice, and then the analytical meditation is where you sit down and you argue with yourself and you work on a deeper subject. Anger, patience, love, specific things are happening during your day. So we'll actually, analytical is really working with a specific subject. But meditation is basically becoming familiar. You're teaching your mind to become familiar with your mind, learn how your mind works so you can work with your mind. And it doesn't, you've got to practice it. So that's why they always say, well, I'm a practicing Buddhist. A Buddhist is a way of life. It's a practice. It's not a religion. It is a philosophy. It's a mind science. And so that's what the meditation is. It's a tool to work with your mind. Many of you said you're looking for peace of mind. You're looking for some of these things. Peace of mind, relaxation, less stress. These are byproducts that will happen. They will automatically happen when you start to meditate in this method. Okay? They're just byproducts. They're going to happen because you don't go and try to, think about stress and be not stressful. Well, that's just stress right there when I'm thinking about it. So that's a byproduct, okay? So we're going to be working with different things. This meditation, just even the scanning the body and the breathing, okay? You do that for, 10, 15 minutes a day, you're going to feel better. Your mind will start to work with it if you start to do this. That's where some of this study comes from. And so stress, less tension, more peace of mind, all those are byproducts, okay? They're byproducts of this type of meditation. Does that make sense? Okay, before I do any recap, does anybody have any questions about what Elise talked about last time? Because it would help me if you actually asked something. Otherwise, I just start talking. We're good? All right. So Elise sent me session 3 so that I could follow where she is at, but I want to kind of go, and I'm going to cheat and use this because this is my old school, just because I'm trying to see. You did all of the history of Buddhism. You talked about where Buddhism started. And those of you that are here for the first time, Buddhism for Dummies, great book. We'll do some of these basics, okay? It's right out there in the bookstore. And it really does just go through the basics of where he was born and when he was born and the 4 sites. Dalai Lama, Buddhism is about the mind. This is kind of where I think you guys would have been, that Buddhism is about the mind. So I'm going to kind of jump in and we'll see, and if I've missed something that she talked about, or if I'm talking about something she didn't talk about, go with it. Buddhism is all about the mind. It's all of this is about your mind. Everything that you see in here is like a visual aid for your mind. Okay? Every tanka that's like a PowerPoint there. There's a lesson in there. All of these colors, all of these things, all of this stuff is in here for us. It's about our mind. And my mind is going to react to something differently than your mind will, You may need something totally different than what he needs. So we all have our individual minds. Okay? There's 84,000 teachings of the Buddha. Okay? That's what those in those little boxes up there. You can pull those down, you can open those up, and they're written in Tibetan, so we can't read them. But guess what? We have a monk that has, or we can go out to that library, and there's books that have all of these teachings. None of this is copywritten. It's free. Okay? All we're paying for is the publisher to publish the books. Okay, 84,000 teachings. And some of them are going to work for you, and some of them aren't. Some of them are going to work for you, some of them aren't. Some of the lessons, some of the meditations will work for you, some of them won't. But it's up to you to do the work and figure it out. The positive states of mind and having only positive left, right? Mind, consciousness. You guys talked about this already, right? This is kind of what you did last time. Non-physical, it is not the brain. The mind and the brain are two different things. The brain is the physical. The mind is non-physical. It's clear, it's aware, and its function is to know. And in Buddhism, the mind is kind of wrapped up with your thoughts and your emotions are all one thing, okay? So in the West, we kind of talk about the heart and feeling and these things. And in Buddhism, there's a great definition by the Dalai Lama that I'll track down sometime for you that talks about how the mind and the heart are really one. Your emotions and your thoughts are really more one. It is aware. So we have the five, sight, sound, smell, touch, taste, our senses. In Buddhism, they add kind of a sixth one, and this is this mental awareness. And its function is to know, and there is no beginning and no end. Okay, we're going to kind of touch on this whole idea of rebirth. Did you touch on that last time, or not yet? Not yet. Okay. So the great thing about this is that we have the ability to change our minds, to work with our minds and transform our minds. Every single person in this room, every single person on this planet has the ability and the capability to do this. This is kind of what we call Buddha nature. Okay, we all have the ability to work with our minds and to change and transform our minds. That's what Buddhism is all about. That's actually what it means to be a Buddhist, to work with our minds. Kind of got old skill here because I'm using Elisa's PowerPoint and I've got all this in mind. So now we're going to talk about everything has a cause. Because the mind is non-physical, it can only be produced by non-physical. I'll just go with me for a minute here. So each moment of mind is produced by a previous moment of mind. Okay, so your thoughts. Let's follow this like we're talking about thoughts. Every moment of mind is produced by a previous moment of mind. You can call this continuity of consciousness or rebirth. So I can do this for you. You know what you had for dinner tonight. You can think about what you maybe had for lunch. You can maybe think about what you had for breakfast. What about dinner last night? Breakfast yesterday. So you can kind of see just that. Just go by your meals, okay? You can think back to your meals. What did you do your last birthday? What did you do a birthday a year ago? What did you do on your birthday 10 years ago? So you can follow your thoughts back with events, can't you? You can follow your thoughts back with meals. You can follow your thoughts back. And so now if you think about every moment of your mind is that previous moment of mind, okay? So just like I did it with just your lunch and your dinner, take it with every single thought that you ever had. Every single mind moment that you ever had, there's a previous mind moment. When you get up and go to the refrigerator, I'm hungry. You're going to get up and go to the refrigerator. There is that thought, oh, I'm hungry. Now you're going to actually get up. Okay, so you're going to, somewhere in your mind, it's like, well, get up. Okay, so, and everything is an actual thought. They say that every snap has 64 mind moments with every snap. Okay, and we think about all these things that we really don't even think about. You get up, you go to the fridge, you get, a water or whatever, an apple. But think about all the thoughts that you had to think of to do that. I'm going to get up. I'm going to walk across the dining room. I'm going to open up the kitchen door. I'm going to open up the fridge. I'm going to look in there. I'm going to open the... So think about all of the mind moments that were in there that we don't even think about. We don't even think about them. Okay? So, but every single one of those has a thought, right? A moment to propel you to get up and go get something. Okay? So you can kind of follow the thought here a little bit. Like I said, we're going to touch on these huge concepts in Buddhism, and we're just skipping along the top. You are not going to get everything in this class. We're just going to introduce these topics, and then I'm going to move on. Since we only have 5 weeks to cover these immense topics, it's just giving you a glimpse, all right? We're skipping across the top. That rock skipper, boom, bing, 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 bing. All right? We have a 2-year course called Discovering Buddhism that is on Monday nights, and every single one of the subjects that I'm touching on tonight, mind and its potential, karma, any of these things, like the spiritual guide, any of these like deep subjects, emptiness, okay? They have a full 6-week course on this, where for an hour and a half, 2 hours, you are going to have this course for 6 weeks. Well, I get, 10 minutes. So you're not going to get it all. We're just going to touch on it, just so you kind of get a little bit, okay, maybe. Then I'm okay. So we're just going to touch on it and keep going. But you can kind of see what I'm talking about with this continuity of thoughts, right? And Elise talked about this just a little bit, right? Well, that's where the concept of rebirth comes from, because what we're saying is that your mind, let's see where she is. Review more about the mind, samsara, and rebirth. I'm on her schedule. Okay. So you kind of see everything is a previous moment of thought, right? You kind of somewhat get this. Okay, pretend I have this river down here, and this is a river of my thoughts. And I can step in, there's Sandy's, 50th birthday. Yes, I'm old. Okay, and there's, Sandy's 40th birthday, and I can go all the way back. If I was a Buddha and could see my entire mind stream, I could go back to my birth, and even before birth, as a concept, just that conception, but even before that, I could follow a mind stream before. So it's this concept of that this little kernel of mind stream, okay, this little mind, it would go from life to life in this cycle of life that we call samsara. Another big word. How many have heard the word samsara? How many watched that awesomely cool movie? The video, if you had a couple beers, it was really good. We won't go there. There's a great movie, a visual art movie called Samsara. So I'm gonna try to bring some of this together. Samsara means cyclic existence. Beginningless, recurring cycle of death and rebirth under the control of karma and delusion. We're going to get to karma in a minute. So the mind being this non-physical, entity, for want of a better word, there's basically 3 levels of mind that we tend to talk about. The gross level, this is what we're aware of all the time, Then we have the subtle. This is kind of that little voice in the back of your mind that's reminding you of things, your subtle mind. And then we have what we call the most subtle. And that's what we're talking about that actually would get reborn in that next life. So, and like I said, just go with it. The best advice that I can give you is you're going to hear a lot of concepts in this class. Some of them are going to make sense, some are not. For those things that don't yet, build a little bookshelf in your mind and stick that thought up there. And just leave it up there and just say, I don't get it, or I don't believe it, or whatever you want to, but just put it up there for now. And then if you move further and are still curious about things, I guarantee you that in some other class, in some other book that you're reading, that concept is going to come out, and then it's going to go, you're going to go, oh, that's what she meant. Again, we're just skipping over these things, so just go with it. It's this mind is a little kernel, a little most subtle piece, and that's where this continuity of mind that goes. I see a lot of curious, like I'm not getting it. Go with me. So what do we talk about with karma? In the West, we all have this idea of karma. And I'm not going to say karma is a bee, all the stuff. You look at people and you hear it all the time. There's Facebook memes on it. Oh, karma's going to get them, but we have this negative connotation of karma, don't we? But karma actually means action. It's the working of cause and effect. Cause and effect. There is a reason for everything. There's a cause for everything. And there's an effect. Cause and effect. You do this, you get that. You do this, you get that. But karma means action And positive actions produce happiness, and negative actions produce suffering. I'm going to go back where she's doing. You guys... Okay. So, karma, positive actions produce happiness, negative actions produce suffering. I'm going to go a little bit out of sequence here because I see she does this other part first, but I'm going to stay here. Okay? So, karma, meaning action, we all talk about karma as it's a bad thing, right? But did we ever think that everything that we caused, everything we did before caused us to be here in this room? That's a positive thing. We all had the beautiful karma to have this wonderful sunny day. That's a beautiful thing. So karma is not negative. Karma can be negative, it can be positive, it can be neutral. Okay? Negative, positive, neutral. You're going to hear those words, negative, positive, neutral, throughout everything you ever do with Buddhism. Positive things, negative things. Okay? I'm going to peek here too. Okay, I'm going to pause on this for a second. You guys have been talking about the Four Noble Truths? A little bit? Truth of suffering, the truth of the cause of suffering, the truth of the cessation of suffering, and the truth of the path. Okay, suffering, suffering, suffering. Buddhism sounds like it's the most depressing thing in the world, doesn't it? It is exactly the opposite. This is probably the most joyful thing I've ever seen. Every true Buddhist that I have ever seen, these great practitioners, are the most joyful people I've ever seen. So why is that? When all we see is death and dying and suffering, that's all you ever see when you see the books, and it sounds like it's the most depressing, and it's not. You could actually change this and go, the truth of happiness, the truth of the cause of happiness, the truth of the cessation of suffering that causes happiness, and the truth of the path of how to get happy. You can. I'm not joking. You really can when you think about it that way. Okay, so think about it this way. The truth of suffering. First, you have to admit that you're sick, right? We're going to do the 12th step. Truth of suffering. What does that mean? Well, you admit that there's suffering in the world. So what kind of suffering? She is doing it. Okay, physical suffering, but mostly refers to mental suffering. Some are obvious, some are not. But the non-obvious suffering is actually harder to deal with than the physical. So what do we mean by that? So what kind of suffering do we have in the world? Okay, you have cancer, right? You have, you were in a car accident, you broke your leg. Okay, that's the physical suffering, right? Somebody punched you. Okay, you got a broken nose. Physical suffering, right? That's kind of that suffering of pain, okay? Suffering of change. Suffering and change. You are out on the beach and you get hot, so you go in the water, and then you get cold in the icy water, so you get out, you go on the beach. Now you're hot again. Now you're cold. I'm doing it right here in this room. I swear, I'm hot, I'm cold, I'm hot, I'm cold. Okay, the suffering and change. I got a new car, and I love that new car. Well, that new car just got a whole bunch of nicks in it for the parking lot. So suffering of change. I'm suffering because my car is now... So suffering of change, it's really this weird little thing, but that is a very real type of mental suffering, okay? You order chocolate cake at the restaurant and they bring you carrot cake. Well, you suffer that change because you really wanted chocolate cake, right? But we get irritated with these things, okay? We know everybody's going to die. People get sick. There's just a lot of things that just make it really hard on us. I guess I'm not going to touch on that one because there's a lot of deep meaning with that one. But this is the truth of suffering, and I can list suffering all night long. That's the depressing stuff. But boy, wouldn't it be nice if we could figure out some of that so that we could change it? Okay? And we've got cancer up here. You know what? I'm a cancer survivor. I met a lot of people with cancer. I met a lot of people with cancer that some of the most wisest and happiest people that I've ever met. So It's just because you have cancer, just because you have a broken leg does not mean you're suffering, right? Just because you have money doesn't mean you're going to be happy. Just because you don't have money doesn't going to be you're unhappy. So you got to think some of this through a little bit, okay? But this is what we're going to do. We're going to try to identify, because if we can identify it, we can deal with it. Truth of the cause, okay? So now we are admitting that we're sick. We are admitting that we've got suffering. And now we're going to go to the doctor, okay? We're going to go to the doctor because the doctor is going to give us the diagnosis, right? So the truth of the cause. There is a cause. There's a reason. What are some of the reasons? We've got big ones. Ignorance, anger, attachment. I'll explain that word a little bit. Attachment, pride, doubt, and wrong view. Okay, just about everything that causes suffering, especially mental suffering, can be put into one of those words. Okay? These are 6 root afflictions. Another little note about Tibetan Buddhism specifically, they like lists. They're really into lists. 6 of those, 21 of those, 15 of those, 10 of those, 32 of those, 108 of those. But it's a way to kind of very, very clearly delineate things. And so this is a study. It is a school of thought. So they have broken this out, okay? And you will get the list in Tibetan Buddhism. It's a very scholarly study. And so they've got it broken out. You've got, curriculum and everything that you can actually work through. For me, it works. That's why I'm still here. So the doctor's going to go and identify the cause. Here are these causes. Ignorance, easy enough. Anger, easy enough. So how many people in this room would admit to being angry people? So I never used to think of myself as an angry person. I think I'm about one of the most easiest going people I know. I really am. I learned that impatience, I am an impatient person. I can be an impatient person. Impatience is the first step on the rung of anger. Well, shoot. Okay. So I've discovered this about myself because I always said, I'm not angry. I don't need any of that. I would never do that. That's not me. Well, I am impatient. Okay. So how do I work with this? I give myself these little tools. I used to get really impatient because I'm a very busy person. And so I'm going to meetings, I'm doing all these things, and I'm driving, and here comes the red light. And so my mood is rather foul because I'm complaining at that car in front of me that they didn't go through so I could go through. Would have just been yellow, right? Impatience. Okay, so I stood, exactly. They did it on purpose to slow me down. So it's funny how your mind just does these things. So I created a practice that I have been doing for years now, okay, that instead of that red light anger that I used to have, I actually have this, it's called a 100-syllable mantra. It's a purification mantra. So when I get to the red lights, I start saying the mantra. Well, now I've flipped it because I've been doing it so long that it's like, I got to get through this mantra before that light. Okay, so I actually reversed it. I'm not joking. It took me a lot of years. This wasn't easy. Okay, but it's like now I have a tool that helps me with patience. Okay, so every single one of these will have the positive over here too. We're going to talk about that. So because impatience, you know how that escalates. Okay, so I don't really escalate, but I'm still there. I still have impatience. So I'm identifying my issues. So I've gone to the doctor, I'm identifying those. And then the third noble truth is there's a state of complete cessation of all suffering and its causes, which is nirvana. So as you start to pull these out, okay, this is taking it by the root. So this is you've been given the medicine, okay? So here's the medicine. But you know what? How many times do we get the medicine and it sits on the counter? and we don't take it. It makes us sick. We don't like it. We don't like the taste of it. I forgot it. Then I don't need it anymore. That's a really good one. So we don't actually do it. We've got the medicine, but we're not taking it. And that's basically the truth of the path, okay? It's the course of treatment that we get, and we've got to take the medicine. We've got to actually, we know it can be cured, so here's the cure, but we got to do it. We got to take the medicine. That's kind of the simple way of looking at the Four Noble Truths, okay? So, again, if you don't like suffering, change it to happiness, the truth of happiness, same thing. But it's just that simple. And everything in Buddhism, these Four Noble Truths, you will come at them all these different ways, all these different explanations, all these different analogies, all these different teachings, all these different stories, and they're going to come back to these Four Noble Truths over and over and over again. Okay, so if you really want to study anything in Buddhism, study those. Because that has like the whole of the teaching in them. Okay? Does that kind of make sense? And what are these? The truth of the path. So Elise is going to, define these a little bit further. Okay? What is this? Renunciation. You can read that, right? Bodhicitta. Another word I'm just going to throw out there. You'll learn more about it later. Bodhicitta. Okay? Renunciation, bodhicitta, and wisdom. Wisdom of emptiness. Emptiness, that big word. Okay? That's the last class. Okay, so there's the truth of the path. Okay, it can be done. And you know what? Again, not because I say so, not because anybody else here at Kadampa says so, not even because the Dalai Lama or the Buddha says so. Study it for yourself. Discover the truth of it for yourself. If you ever find anything in Buddhism that we say that is not true, you've got to just drop it. Okay? You've got to discover this for yourself. Don't believe anything just because we say so. So there's no blind faith here, but we have kind of I'll take it as a working concept mind frame. Okay? So I'm going to try it. I've been working with Geshe-la for a number of years. So if he says something to me, you know what, I'm gonna check it out. So I've got kind of this working concept thing because I believe him because everything else that he said is kind of working. So I'm going to go with this one unless I find out differently. So I've got kind of this working hypothesis type of situation here. This has been working for me for years. So I'm going to keep on doing this because I have that faith of experience. Okay, but there's no blind faith here. Does that kind of make sense? Anybody have any questions? Because I just talk. I feel like I've got diarrhea of the mouth. You can stop me anytime. Okay, does this kind of make a little bit of sense? Okay. Okay, she's going to...
If you believe someone has done harm to you, whether intentionally or unintentionally, how do you respond to that? How do you let them know that they did harm to you to help them not do it again? And deal with it yourself as well.
Okay. Big concept. So we're going to say two things. Number one, being Buddhist does not mean you're a doormat, ever. If you are ever in a bad situation, get out. Get out of it. Okay? We talk about all of this, love and nonviolence and stuff. Well, if you're in a bad situation, get out. Find help, get out of it. Don't ever stay in it. It is never okay. It is never okay to be in a bad situation. Okay? So do what you need to do to get out of it, if that's depending on the levels of how bad it is. So we always want to kind of put that out there right away, because you can hear all these words about working with your mind and stuff. Let's just have some common sense with anything that we talk about. So if somebody is actually harming you, get out of it. If somebody has hurt your feelings now, Okay, somebody at work said something mean to you. Now we're talking a different subject, right? So, you know, it's how do you deal with that? And there's so many different ways to deal with it. So we make up these stories about things. We cannot control somebody else's actions. All we can do is control our own. How we react to that is our karma. Okay, that is in our control. Them doing it, that's their karma. Okay, so eventually they're gonna have to deal. But how do we react? If we can react with patience, understanding, compassion, you have no clue why they've said these things or done these. Maybe they had a terrible time at home themselves. Maybe that we can make up all the stories in the world that we have. Maybe they just had a death in their family and they didn't get any sleep last night and they're at their last. We don't know. You know, maybe they're just not nice people, but they're not nice for so many reasons. We don't know. There's so many full things. So we can't go down that path because we can't change their actions, but we can change ours. So how do we react to that? You know, by saying, there's so many different ways, you know, that hurt me, you know, I don't appreciate it. You know, if it crosses a legal line, you deal with it that way. But how do you react to somebody? You know, most of the time I try to show compassion. Sometimes I kill them with kindness. And I try to do it without sarcasm. Okay? But hopefully we have that compassion and that knowledge, you know, wisdom and compassion. That's what these tattoos say. And they do say that because I had the Tibetan monk write them for me, so I know that they actually say what they're supposed to say. Because we can't be just nice and we can't be just smart. We have to be both. Okay? So it's trying to find that line of what's the best way for you to handle that situation. Okay? With compassion, with patience, with firmness, you know, or just separate out. So that's a loaded question with so many different angles. Am I helping to answer it at all?
Yeah, definitely. Instead of being passive and just tolerating stuff, make a conscious decision about
you always have a choice.
Without harming others.
Yep.
Deal with the situation.
Yeah. Being Buddhist does not mean you're a doormat. Okay? Now, it doesn't mean you're going to, you know, swing back. You hope that you won't, but,
it's hard.
You know, it's hard. It's hard sometimes not to lash out, even verbally back, isn't it? But that, you know what? It's that just taking that second to think, you know what? You have no reason you don't know what caused them to do this, you know, to be the way they are. There's so many, again, we make up these stories in our head, but you can control your actions. Separate out, say something, leave. You know, be firm. You know, I'm not sure why you feel that way, but you know what? I really don't appreciate you saying that. You know, is there something that we could talk about? Or, you know, this isn't going to work for me. I'm sorry. I've got to go. So just don't. Does that make sense? Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned that there are two ways of suffering, the physical and the mental. And I have a question for the courses. I can see that those 6 perspectives you have there might be the causes for all mental suffering. What do you think? Is it also the cause for physical suffering?
Well, there's actually 3 kinds of suffering. And again, suffering of pain, suffering of change, pervasive compounded suffering. Big words.
Yeah, but for diseases or what illnesses?
Oh, okay. I think I see where you're going. You're saying that maybe having stress and things like that can cause cancer, or some of these things can cause an illness?
Stress is not on there. I'm talking about ignorance, anger, attachment, pride, doubt, and wrong.
Yeah, with stress, I would either put under actually any of these. Okay, I'm going to be stressed. So stress would be a level of these. Can they cause physical suffering? Can any of these cause physical suffering?
No, not if any of them can, but if Buddhism says any physical sufferings can be deduced to any of those. Is it the mantra that you have?
I would probably wouldn't go there. Physical suffering, yeah, it's real. If you get hit by a car, it's gonna hurt. It is gonna hurt, okay? You have a choice of how you deal with that hurt. But it's a very real, mundane, real thing. So I think we can talk about you can mentally deal with pain, but it's there. I mean, you are going to hurt, so you can't, I guess I'm saying you can't really just, Chris is raising his hand. Go for it.
I think what
Karen
she's asking, is it part of Buddhism that mental causes physical suffering? Is that what you're asking?
I wasn't asking that. I was just trying to understand what is on the board.
Oh, okay.
If you want to extend this question to that,
Okay.
please go.
Okay, you're right. You weren't asking that. You were just saying, is that something that is part up on the board? But no, I don't think it is. The way that Buddhism looks at suffering is there's physical suffering and mental suffering, and then this all compounded samsara suffering that is very hard to get out of. And there's not really, Buddhism doesn't look at it that way. I'll just leave it there. That's a gushy question, really, I think.
Yeah, but I'm going to say that they're separate. You have a mental suffering and you have a physical suffering, and they are separate. Now, can they be a little dependent? Yes. Okay, and when I say that, well, I broke my leg. I've got all of this anger over it by the car that, so they can be a little interdependent sometimes or causally connected, but I do believe that they are separate from the way that we're talking about and the way that I think you're asking. Buddhism in a nutshell, people. Remember, skipping across the top.
Thank you. And just to kind of add to the conversation, now I have heard that for a fact there are certain kinds of, cancers or certain things that become wrong with people's spines and things like that that can have their roots originated in stress and things like that.
Agree.
And if these, if anger and attachment, pride, etc., are things that lead to stress, then I think it would be fair to say, I'm not going to say from a Buddhist perspective or whatever, because I don't speak for that, but I would definitely say that to a certain extent, not all inclusively by any means, but I would definitely say, from my opinion, to a certain extent, I would say these things can definitely lead to physical suffering.
Yep, that's why I'm saying I think they're causally connected. I agree 100% with what you're saying. Okay, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. They're interdependent. They can be causally connected, but they're separate from how we're talking about them. But yeah, if you're less stressful and going about just having a healthier mind, I would assume that would make for a little bit of a healthier body too. And they do actually have connections on that. So I agree with what you're saying, but we're going to separate them out so that when we talk about them, we know how to truly affect them. Yes?
I'm sorry.
No, I'm with you, because I thought it was just me. I'm all about it. I thought it was just me having a power surge. No, thank you. It'd be much better. I got to watch the time, too. I am really horrible. Oh, my goodness. Okay, we got to stop talking. I'm going to fly through this stuff. I love this class, and I'm so happy to be here. Okay. I just can't believe time is already almost a quarter after. Question?
I do have a question in the way that they kind of interrelate, and I don't know if this is actually if this is meant to be relational, but I'm drawing this relational type thing. Sorry. So I don't know if this is coincidental or this is kind of like, and this is the grander scheme of the teaching type thing. But I'm definitely seeing some correspondence of cause and effect, which like what we were just talking about as far as like these mental things can lead to physical suffering, but also just like in some very obvious things, like if I'm really mad, then I could possibly yell at somebody and then that's going to cause me more mental suffering, and then I could possibly get in a physical fight, or I could get drunk and crash my car, and it's kind of like it cause and effect karma, and it's like the noble truths just expand outward is, I guess is what I'm saying. Is that essentially what we're kind of like getting to?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna.
No, that's awesome. So you just led down to the nice segue, because man, I am so going to fly through this stuff. I love discussion and the questions. It just is so much better, because otherwise I'm just throwing all this information at you. But I have got a whole bunch of more slides to get through. Okay, 4 laws of karma. So now we're back to karma, the working of cause and effect. Positive actions, happiness, kind of a duh, right? Negative actions are a negative karma, okay? So karma is definite. Virtuous actions always produce happiness. Non-virtuous actions always produce suffering, okay? That's just part of this law. Karma it's a law kind of like gravity, okay? So you have to kind of think about it like that. It's not a rule. It's more of this natural law. Karma expands over time. It's kind of that ripple effect. You throw that karmic action out there and it gets larger. So a little nice action would have larger effects. And I experience that all the time. Something I thought was just a little, thank you, or let's go have a cup of coffee and listen to somebody. To me, it was just this little thing that I did. But to somebody that received that, it turned into huge benefit for them. And I never even thought about it like that. So it expands over time. Some little thing that I did negatively, that also grows. Okay, same thing. Somebody yelled at you at work. It was, bad, and it just seems to follow, and it gets worse over time. So karma expands over time. You cannot experience the result without creating the cause. We talked about this. I punch you, okay, and you're not going to have any karmic effect from my actions on him. You won't have anything that I did to you. You don't have a karmic effect, but how you react to me. Okay, I punch you, you punch me back. Guess what? We're both losers. Okay, I punch you, you forgive me, you step away, you do it. You don't have this negative karma. You have positive karma because of how you handled that. Make sense? You will never experience the result without creating the cause. Karma is never lost. Karma is never lost. My karmic seeds are all there. Okay, they will always produce a result. There's only 2 ways that you can get rid of a karmic result. One is purification, okay, and the other is destroyed or exhausted, okay? So purification, that's something that I think Elise will talk about during one of the other classes. There's things that we can do that will help us to kind of pull that karmic root out. Let's pretend we've got a garden in our mind, and I want to plant positive, beautiful flowers, and I want to pull out the weeds. If I just cut them, they're still going to grow, aren't they? So we want to pull them out by the root and get rid of them. So if I go into my garden in my mind and purify that root, I can pull it out by the root. Okay, so there's practices for that. And it can be destroyed, okay? So once I've experienced this result of the karma, it's gone, okay? It's just like that seed sprouted, and now it's done. So it kind of goes that way too. And like I said, we're going to fly. You can stop me with questions, but I've got to get through this. The 4 aspects of karma. 4, the ripening result. What kind of rebirth that we have, okay? So what type of rebirth that we take is part of the ripening result, okay? We were born here in America. We were born in an affluent country. With we don't have some of the issues that they have over in Kosovo, over in Serbia. We weren't born in a war-torn country, so we have some pretty doggone good karma, right? Possessed result, what type of environment we're born into. Okay, I was born into a middle-class military family. I've had a very, probably easy life comparatively to a lot of others. So I did something right in my past life for this. And I'm very appreciative, and I'm trying to set up the next one. Experiencing the results similar to the cause. I'm robbed because back in my past, not necessarily this life, okay, we can go back, okay, I'm robbed because I stole something. Okay, so things that happen to you. This is the experiencing the results similar to the cause. Creating the results similar to the cause. I steal now because I have habit energy, because I stole in the past, and that's why I'm a thief now. Habit energy. Yes, ma'am.
Can you expand really quick on the concept of we have good karma because we were born?
Well, so karma, again, cause and effect. Okay? Wouldn't you say that, would you rather be born in America, or would you rather be born in one of these war-torn countries where things are going on?
I'd rather be born in the United States, but I find the comment that that implies that everybody born in Serbia was bad and a
I love this. Right? Okay? That's what she's, yes. Okay, so where are we going here? Guilt. Victim. Right? So this is a huge concept, so it's a great question. It's a great question. We in the West do everything through guilt. Okay? Guilt is a negative word. So just like we could say that everybody that saw the sunshine today had this beautiful karma, but anybody that was born has negative karma, so they must be at fault. We think about it as a fault scoreboard thing, right? So they're at fault. The best way I can answer that is we are all at fault. In this lifetime, we had this result. But with this rebirth and this constant cycle, I guarantee you that everybody in this room has at one time done something horribly wrong. Okay? We are not these perfect people. Okay? We have had the good fortune that our karmic seeds have ripened this time to be born here. We have the opportunity to study Buddhism. You're sitting in a Gampa in Raleigh, North Carolina. Okay, so something brought you here. These good karmic seeds are ripening for you to come here. But if we don't follow this, we need to continue to create this good karma. We have this opportunity. But we assign guilt, and we can't do that. Like that child that dies, oh, they must have done something wrong. That's why they died early. That's why they got cancer. Well, she's got cancer. She must have done something wrong. So it's this assigning. It's a way to work with our minds, because once you kind of get a hold of this, it's a very empowering, because it takes victimization out of the equation. But it also takes judging out of the equation. If you work with it, okay? We see people suffering, and we need to look at that and think about them with compassion instead of looking at them and just going, well, they must have done something wrong, which is why they're living there. We are all purifying. At this moment, we're here, but we're all purifying things. We don't have perfect lives. I guarantee you there's people in this room that are sick, that are ill, that have a lot of problems, financial problems, medical problems, okay? But we don't have the third world country problem right now, okay? But there are people in that third world country that are affluent, that are happy, that, they don't. So it's very interesting to work with some of this stuff. But that's a really good point, okay? She's brought up a really good question. So you have to work with that with your mind. Yes? Exactly. Yep.
And we have our own issues. Maybe that's why I'm here.
Yep. It's true. This is the balance. Exactly. This is so again. See where these go. See where this is what do we work with. I'm never going to get through. But these are great discussions, and this is what Buddhism is about. Okay. So we have these tools and we're working, but this is our everyday life that we have to work with. So our school is this, and to have these awarenesses and these discussions, because Buddhism is not about sitting on the mat one time a week. It's what you do every day, and in all honesty, what you do every moment of every day. I'm not going to get through this. We can skip that one. How much time do I have? This is my favorite. We have 4 minutes. Okay, wait. We're going to do this. The 10 non-virtuous actions, those connected with karma to ethical behavior. 3 of body, speech, and mind. You'll hear body, speech, and mind in Buddhism. The 3 of body, killing, stealing, sexual misconduct. 4 of speech, lying, speaking harshly, slander, gossip. 3 of mind, covetousness, I want what you have. Ill will, anger, or impatience. Wrong views. Wrong views can be anything from, you know what, I'm not worthy. I'm never going to get this. That's a wrong view. You all have Buddha nature, okay? So how do we look at these things and not have them become a list of do's and don'ts? Okay? Well, y'all think, well, I don't kill. Okay? Pretty much nobody in here is killing people. But how many times do you unthinkingly swat that mosquito? You're driving your car. I guarantee you are killing a bunch of minds. Did Elise go through the fact that minds are not just human? Okay. 4 minutes. Okay. So killing is any mind. From a Tibetan Buddhist perspective, a mind is a sentient being. Sentient. Okay. That is animals. That is insects. Some people will take it as far as microbial beings. Some people will take it as far as the plants because the trees talk to each other. So this is about trying to do the best you can with this, okay? Stealing, obvious, but we think about the obvious stuff, but do you think about, I'm just going to take these, paper clips here and I'm just going to use them, taking that which isn't offered, okay? We all do it, so it's trying to do it. And again, you're working with your mind. Sexual misconduct doesn't necessarily mean what you think it might mean. That's a little bit up for interpretation. But if you're hurting somebody else, okay, so rape, okay, any of those types of things, there's a lot of abusive sex, that's hurting somebody else, okay? So try to work with that one. 4 of speech, lying. Well, you know what? I don't lie, but boy, I can tell a lot of white lies. You look really nice tonight. I love that haircut. Maybe not. Speaking harshly, just being rude to that person. We don't have to do that slander or divisive speech. I could come in here and say, I think Elise is really good, but, so that would be divisive. Gossip, we all do it, and we're all bad for it, and we all could do better. And it's just that simple. Covetousness, I try to do this where I see somebody who has something that I want and I rejoice that they've got it. I'm really happy that they've got it. And if I can do that without that, boy, I wish I had that. Okay, and just rejoice for them. But we all can do that. We see something, we are, especially in America, see it, want it. Ill will, anger, impatience, we've talked about that. And again, wrong views. The biggest wrong view is to think that we can't do it. Okay, in America, we're even worse than just about any other country in the world for judging ourselves and being hard on ourselves. Oh my goodness, we're almost there. Okay, so we talked about purification. Regret, relent, remedy, and resolve. This is an actual practice that we do. So the first thing we do is we change the word guilt to regret. I'd like y'all to just throw the word guilt out of your vocabulary and never use it again. It's a negative word and it's just crushing. You can regret something, but regret means you can do something about it. I wish I didn't do that. Okay, so I regret that I did it. I'm going to rely on these teachings, and if I put some of these things into action, they're going to help. So I'm going to apply the remedy. I'm going to go apologize, or I'm going to work with it, and I'm going to do these things that I am learning to make it better, and I'm going to resolve to not do that again. Now, I might resolve just not to do it for a week. Okay, let's be real. I can't say I'm never going to do that again because I'm human, but I'm going to try not to do it for maybe a week. Okay? And then I'm going to have a better awareness of it, whatever it is. Maybe I got, mad at the red light, whatever. And I'm going to try not to do it. So I'm going to have that awareness for a week. So I'm making a promise to myself that I can maybe keep. Right? And so this is an actual if you go to bed tonight and do this, the 4 R's. Okay? Go through your day. What did you do today? Did you do anything wrong? Did you have a good day? You really, figure it out. And then if there was something that you wish you could have done better, well, think about that thing. Okay, what could I have done better? How could I have done it? What am I going to do about it? Do I need to apologize to somebody? Or maybe I just need to be nicer to them tomorrow. Maybe I don't actually apologize, but maybe I'm just nicer to them tomorrow. And then resolve to do it. So if you kind of end your day, it's just like we start meditations with an intention, end your day with that dedication. Okay? So it's just trying to do some of those things. Literally, I'm 2 minutes over. I love this class. That was really, really Cliff Notes, and I don't think I took you too far sideways. Does anybody have any questions? I'm more than willing to stay if you've got questions. You're free to go run. Elise will be back. She's so much more organized than me. But I hope that you're getting what you need from this class. Kadampa Center is an awesome place. Everything that we do here is literally free of charge. If we still have to keep the lights on and the air conditioning going, so if you get any benefit from it, if you've got the opportunity to donate a couple bucks, it's always welcome. Check out our website. We have so many events and so many things going on. We've got some very high teachers coming. All right, so again, check the website. Lama Zopa Rinpoche will be here for 1 day next month. He is one of the founders of the FPMT, which is the governing foundation for the preservation of the Mahayana tradition. He's an awesomely cool guy. If you haven't had a chance to see and learn from Geshe Gelik Choda, phenomenal teacher. Okay, if you've never been on Sundays, actually he's traveling right now, so watch the calendar, because if you get an opportunity to see him, come. What other questions? Honestly, I just feel like that time just zipped by.
Are there any female equivalents of men?
Guess what? You see this? This is Tara. So Tara is the female Buddha. Okay? So Buddhism, just like any other philosophy, religion, whatever you want to call it, is mostly male, okay? But the Tibetan Buddhists have been working to reestablish the lineage of the female teachers, and they have now been ordaining female geshes. Okay, geshe is a title. It's like doctor, okay? It means that our geshe, okay, his name is Gelik Choda, title is Geshe. He's been through 30 plus years of study over in India. And now they have female geshes who have been doing the same teaching. We had one visit here 2 years ago. Phenomenal. So yes, they are reestablishing the female line. Tara is the female Buddha. She is a female Buddha that was born of Chenrezig's tear. I even love the story. Chenrezig split into 1,000 pieces because he couldn't help enough. And when he couldn't help, a tear fell, and a woman was born, and she's Tara. So she is a female Buddha. So yes, we do. And Tara is one of our, so we don't bow to these false gods. That's not what we do. It is a representation of something we want to be. We want to be medicine Buddha. We want to hope that people are healthy and happy. Tara is the female Buddha of love in action. I want to be like Tara because I want to actually help. I don't want, you can't, praying about it is good, but wouldn't it be nice to actually do a little bit more? Okay, those dishes are not going to get done if you just sit and pray that they get done. You want to do a little bit more. So Tara is love in action. Chenrezig is compassion Buddha. So these are all things that we want to be. So we're not bowing to these gods. We want to be like these representations of these different emanations of love and compassion. And so we're we are prostrating to the teachings. We're prostrating to what they offer. And by humbling of ourselves, we get rid of pride, don't we? I remember the first time that I actually started prostrating because I was thinking, you know what, I don't bow down to anybody. You know, we kind of have that, especially as Americans, kind of get that attitude, right? And when it's a practice, when you realize, you know what, I really don't know as much as I would like to. And so I'm humbling myself before the teachings, not before people and not before gods. I'm humbling myself for the teachings. Yeah, you guys can leave anytime. If you've got questions, you can keep asking them. I just blathered. Thank you all for coming. Yes, sir. Dharma is the teachings of the Buddha. Dharma is Buddhism. It's the teachings, and it's the teachings in action. If you get everything in Buddhism is going to have like 10 meanings, okay? So the Dharma is the teachings, and it's the teachings in action, and it's the realization that you have from the teachings. So yeah, it's the teachings, the Dharma. Yes. Yeah. So again, everything in Buddhism has, 5 different levels of meaning. The basic one is the Dharma is the teachings. They are the teachings. Okay? But there's more to that, which there are, but that's good. Yes, ma'am.
So I had a question, and I think it probably, forgive me, but I know
Go for it.
Denomination, but it's what I'm just going to.
Go for it. Yeah, don't worry about it.
So my understanding was there was, like, a female Buddha that was supposed to be, like, that.
The Dalai Lama?
Not the Dalai Lama.
Shakyamuni Buddha.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
This
So.
is obviously I was just reading about it, and basically, like, that was, like, the first woman that was,
I seem to remember hearing something or reading something in that. That's more of the historical. Okay. And so that very well could be. He also worked with his mother.
Yeah.
So, yes.
So I guess the question that I had is that, like, is that not the teachings because it's a different denomination, or is that history?
No, it's all completely different. Okay, so Shakyamuni Buddha, just a man. Okay, not a god. He was a man. And then so he was teaching, and then later it split off into the different, just like anything else will. It split off into some of the different denominations, even just Tibetan Buddhism. Okay, let alone you get into Chinese Buddhism and some of the other Zen, just Mahayana, Theravadan. I mean, there's a whole, get the Buddhism for Dummies and it will go through everything. But even Tibetan Buddhism has 4 schools. So it's just very dependent on, that's not where some of the lineage stuff started like that. Okay. They would have studied with him, and his aunt did, and I know his mom was a student of his. So that's just part of historical. Okay? So. Like I said, Cliff Notes. I'm skipping right along the top. Thank you all for coming. I'm going to let you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, crazy, huh?